Piaget's Developmental Stages by Hallie, Ertel, and Kelsey Woehnker. Before Piaget's work, the common assumption in psychology was that children are merely less competent thinkers than adults. Piaget showed that young children think in strikingly different ways compared to adults. According to Piaget, children are born with a very basic mental structure, as genetically inherited and evolved, on which all subsequent learning and knowledge is based. The belief before him was that babies did not think until they talked. Piaget was first influenced by psychoanalyst Carl Jung and Paul Eugene Buehler in psychology labs in Zurich during 1918. The following year, he taught psychology and philosophy at the Sorbonne in Paris, where he did research on intelligence testing. He did not accept methods of previous psychoanalysts and behaviorists and created his own ideas and tests. Piaget started to investigate the way that children reason. For about 2 years, he analyzed the verbal reasoning of normal children by presenting them with a variety of questions and exposing them to tasks that involved simple, concrete relations of cause and effect. At last, Piaget knew what he wanted to study. He wanted to work in this field of inductive and experimental psychology.
One of his major achievements includes his theory of development and the processes of cognitive development. The two major aspects are the coming to know and the stages that we move through to acquire this ability. Piaget's focus was on children and their developmental processes. One of the methods he used was naturalistic observation, where Piaget made careful, detailed observation of children. These were mainly his own children and the children of friends. From these, he wrote diary descriptions charting their development. He also used clinical interviews and observations of older children who were able to understand questions and hold conversations. After watching many children, he felt that all children went through a series of 4 stages in the same order. Some children advanced through a stage faster than other children. The first stage that he observed was from birth to 2 years of age. Piaget called this the sensory-motor period. Piaget discovered and studied active infant learning, which he described in 6 stages of sensory-motor intelligence. Babies use their senses and motor skills to gain an understanding of their world, first with reflexes and then by adapting through assimilation and accommodation. These 6 stages are further broken down into 3 groups: primary circular reactions, secondary circular reactions, and tertiary circular reactions. Primary circular reactions involve the infant's own body, the infant's motion senses, sucking noise, and other stimuli. Secondary circular reactions involve the infant's responses to objects and people. This stage focuses on object permanence. This is a video of a baby without object permanence.
You like the ball? Okay, watch this. I'm putting the ball. Where did it go? Where's the ball? Do you see it? Where'd the ball go?
This is a video of a baby with object permanence.
That's right.
See your red circle? Where'd it go? Good job.
Tertiary circular reactions are when children are referred to as little scientists because they like to experiment.
I'm gonna do an experiment! I flushed the bear, Mommy!
In the pre-operational stage, cognition develops rapidly from ages 2 to 7. Their active search for understanding was first recognized by Piaget. Piaget thought that egocentrism limits understanding, as young children center on only one thing at a time, focusing on appearance. Their thinking is magical and animistic. They start to use mental imagery and language. Centration is where a child focuses on one idea and excludes all others.
Where is Daddy? He's going to see his brother. Daddy can't be a brother, he's a daddy. Just like you're my daughter and a sister to Haley, Daddy is your dad and a brother to your Uncle Jeff. Huh?
Egocentrism is where a child tends to think about the world from their own perspective. It is not to be confused with selfishness.
Happy birthday, Mommy! Got you! Isn't it so cool? Oh, thanks, honey.
Focus on appearance is when a child ignores all attributes that are not apparent. concrete operational stage is from ages 7 to 11. Children are able to take another person's point of view and incorporate more than one perspective simultaneously. The child can see and reason with concrete knowledge, but is unable to look at the abstract side of things and develop all possible outcomes. They act out story problems that deal with facts alone, but nothing abstract. The idea of conservation is a main component of concrete operation, which is the concept that the amount stays the same even with alterations as long as nothing is added or subtracted.
Guys, I brought you some water.
Thanks, Mommy. She has more than me. I want more.
No, she doesn't. I put the same amount in each cup.
No, her water is higher. Look at her. She has more.
Formal operational stage starts at 11 and goes all the way into adulthood. People in this stage are capable of thinking logically, abstractly, and theoretically. They are able to manipulate ideas in their head, and they have higher order thinking. To Piaget, this was the ultimate stage of development. Children in this stage are self-motivators. They learn from reading and trying out new ideas, as well as helping friends and adults. Piaget believed that not everybody reaches this stage of development.
We just have 4 fingers. Wouldn't be able to write or nothing.
You wouldn't be able to tell a person that they're like good and this.
That's good.
And you wouldn't be able to write really good. And you couldn't play thumb wrestling.
Man, I think the whole world would change, kind of. I know a friend of mine who's a lefty, and in 5th grade we were just shooting the breeze one day, and she said, "You know, the whole world's made for righties." I said, "What are you talking about? The whole world's made for righties?" She said, "Well, door handles all open a certain way, tables are made a certain way, desks in school are all made for righties. You'll notice that when you get in, you can prop your right arm up, but not your left one." And sort of for the next week or so, I kept my eye out, and she was right. I mean, the whole world is sort of tailored to the majority, the righties. And so I think if we were to lose something as simple but critical as our thumb, the whole world would change. Maybe a bunch of little things, but all those little things would add up to something major, and I think the whole world would be different.
Although there are many obvious strengths to Piaget's theory, there are also some weaknesses and limitations. There is a controversy about whether children reach various stages of development earlier than Piaget had predicted. He failed to consider the effect that the social setting and culture may have on cognitive development. This concept was later researched by Vygotsky.
Piaget provided support for the idea that children think differently than adults, and his research identified several important milestones in the mental development of children. His work also generated interest in cognitive and developmental psychology. Piaget's theories are widely studied today by students of both psychology and education. Today, his theory of cognitive developments are widely used in many preschools and primary grade setups. While earlier researchers had often viewed children simply as smaller versions of adults, Piaget helped demonstrate that childhood is a unique and important period of human development. He has honorary doctorates from Harvard, Manchester, Cambridge, and about 28 other universities. He created the International Center for Genetic Epistemology in 1955 and served as director until his death. He received the Erasmus Prize in 1972 and numerous awards from around the world. This award is the biggest award next to the Nobel Prize. Piaget led the way for activists studying children's modes of learning and thinking. Jean Piaget passed away in 1980, however, his contributions will be forever lasting, and anyone associated with educational purposes for children will look at his theories and studies as the start of the pathway to show that children's thinking should be taken seriously.